we're going to do here is read a chapter. The last chapter, in fact, from my 2013 best-selling novel, Total Frat Move. I gotta say, if we did anything right, it was the fucking cover. This is dope. Except for the... I still don't know how we haven't been sued by John Wayne's family, because this is just the most half-ass fake quote in the whole world. Men join fraternities. John Wayne, who, by the way, turns out was kind of a shitbag. I do have a John Wayne bobblehead somewhere, though. There were 12 chapters in this book. If you missed any of the other chapters, they're all available on youtube.com/Bolen Media. Welcome to everybody who just came from Doug's stream. What a career. What a career for Coach Doug's. You can see my two dogs, Bruce and Bella. Which way do I need to move? Right back here. That's Bruce's ass. This is Bella. And that's Chris Coulson, my new co-host on the Ross Bolen podcast. Go listen to the Ross Bolen podcast, episodes 312 and 313 for his first two episodes. Also, patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast for the Friday episode. Also, if you're new here, subscribe, follow, rate, review, tip. And don't touch yourself while I'm reading. That's one of the rules. It's one of the rules. Anyway, there were 12 chapters in this book. The other 11 are already available on youtube.com/Bolen Media, Bolen Media. That's my company. We're the Ross Bolen podcast, and our television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, are both housed. We're going to do the final chapter. It's called Bourbon Street Brutality. Last week we read the, Road Trip Raging, the bus trip to New Orleans. Now we will be in New Orleans. I'm kidding. Y'all can touch yourselves all you want. How would I know? I know. I always know. Now we're going to be in New Orleans experiencing, what that's like. Has anybody in chat not been to Bourbon Street? Raise your hand. Coles, you've never been to Bourbon Street?
No.
Well, I can't go with you. No, actually, now that I don't drink, it'd probably be a lot more fun. It's the alcohol on Bourbon Street that literally just destroys your entire life. You've never had a hand grenade, Coles. Now I have to take you.
All right, let's go.
I'm not really going to be spending much time on the street. You will. I'll be in the casino. But we can go, for sure. Company trip at some point when the... around 2033 when we've beaten the COVID, you and I will take off down to Bourbon Street and enjoy ourselves. Man, that's a lot of people who haven't been to Bourbon Street. I guess comparatively, 94 people in here?
Hey, Bourbon Street is New Orleans, right?
1, 2, 3. Yes, it's New Orleans. Coles.
I read a story one time about a guy that blacked out and then bought a cab back to Houston from New Orleans. Might have been on TFM, actually.
If I'm not mistaken, my good friend Dylan Shivery wrote that story on TFM, Coles.
Yeah, he may have.
And I'm not mistaken. I never have been. All right. Bobby, we could do a gang meetup in NOLA at some point, 2035, when the COVID's gone. Bourbon Street Brutality. Final chapter of the TFM book. Oh, I'm going to need to fix that right quick. Thank you, though, Corey.
Wow.
Damn, the bass on these speakers.
Kind of nice.
Could y'all hear that?
That was
That was quite fucking loud. All right, Bourbon Street Brutality. Before long, our lawless caravan was in front of the hotel at the corner of Bourbon and Canal. Someone at the front of the bus turned Summer of '69 on full blast. It was a bittersweet awakening for those who were passed out. The driver insisted that on our way off we tidy up in order to get back our deposit. We didn't give two shits about the deposit. Everyone booed him again, inaccurately throwing empty cans in his general direction. Katie and I were in the back of the bus, so I still had time to pound one last beer before exiting. I was too excited to pop the top and instead performed a teen wolf, biting into the side like a fucking animal and spewing it all over myself. Katie looked at me like I was crazy, but I was too drunk to care. As everyone found their way toward the exit, our chapter president tipped the driver $500 for putting up with our shit and to ensure he gave us a ride home. I was rooming with Nate, so we met in the lobby for a drink with the girls before heading to our rooms. We wanted to make sure these naive 18-year-olds got properly acquainted so we could attempt a switcheroo or a 4-person Eiffel Tower. That aged well. At the very least, they needed to feel comfortable being smashed like piñatas in beds just a few feet apart. Again, I apologize. Yo, they put this on the New York Times Bestselling list. If anybody should get in trouble, it's the New York Times, not me. This is not my fault. At the very least... Okay, I'm not reading that sentence again. Mom, I'm sorry. While the girls got ready to go out for the night... Thank you, Maverick. I appreciate you very much. Appreciate you very, very much, sir. Spin the wheel. Got this pod game on lock. Yo, gang on my block. Got this pod game on lock. Yo, gang on my block. While the girls got ready to go out for the night, Nate and I headed to Turbo's room and railed a few lines to get in the zone. We threw on khakis, button-downs, and blazers while Nate attempted to communicate the erratic thoughts firing through his brain at 9,000 RPMs. It's incredible that in an era of such economic hypocrisy, a place like this still exists where men such as ourselves can defy modern moral measures, rattled Nate. Things can get pretty fucking weird when drugs influence Nate's already overactive mind. I've crafted a standard response to calm him down in these situations. I blame the liberals, I replied. Exactly, he said as he slipped on his jacket. Why are they so uptight? Look at me, I'm relaxed. Let's fucking do this. I texted Katie to meet us in the lobby as we headed toward the elevator. It's pretty difficult to get arrested on Bourbon Street. You basically have to piss on a cop or murder an etouffee vendor in plain sight. It's nearly impossible to get arrested anywhere when you look good in a blazer and have superhuman argumentative powers obtained with quality stimulants. We were ready to show the city who's boss. When Katie came downstairs, the look of frightened bewilderment had faded, which meant she had either bonded with the female roomie or was blackout drunk. Possibly both. Regardless, she was comfortable, which was great news for me. All right, are you girls ready to see what New Orleans has to offer? I asked. Yes, let's get some food. We're totally starving, said Katie. I can't remember which girl's supposed to have a deep voice. Doesn't matter anymore. They all do. It's the last chapter. Can't hold anything back now. None of those are words from the book that I just said. Well, fuck, you two look good enough to eat. Am I right, Towns? Yelled Nate, awkwardly trying to mask his mental state. His date giggled bashfully, and I shook my head in disbelief. Katie took my arm and we strolled out onto Bourbon to get dinner where the real shit show would begin. We had a party of 12 and dinner got belligerent quickly. New Orleans isn't known as a quiet city, but we were by far the most loudmouthed patrons in the establishment. I maintained inebriation with bourbon on the rocks and the girls all ordered their shitty girly whatever the fucks. Not a single one of us was carded. The waiter knew, based on our attire and drunken demeanor, that we were about to spend big money. Katie spilled her drink all over the girl next to her immediately upon receiving it. I laughed hysterically and hit Nate with a fist bump as we watched Katie rub the victim's legs down with napkins. And then it just says, sluts. Not a joke. Actually says that. Right there. It's called a, what is it? What is it? A parody? What's the excuse Barstool always uses for everything they do that's offensive? Satire. This is satire. It's satire. Don't worry. It's satire. Thanks to the heated adrenaline pumping through my body due to the mix of amphetamines and alcohol, I repeatedly left the table to rip cigs. The waitstaff was having trouble keeping up with the frequency of our drink orders, and Turbo, whose eyes were occupied by the murderous rage that fills him when he holds an empty beverage, started shouting at busboys and random passersby. Pablo! Hurricanes! Now! Everyone gorged on delicious Cajun food, washing down the spiciness with drink after drink. I forced down bites, relieved of hunger by the uppers I had consumed. Things were starting to get hazy, and we had definitely overstayed our welcome, so we asked for the check. $2,275. It was time for credit card roulette. Turbo dumped the contents of his Turbo dumped the contents of his date's purse onto the table, and as she yelled at him, we threw our plastic into it. The first card was drawn, and it was mine, saving more money for strippers and gambling. I slammed my drink onto the table in a fit of celebration, and it shattered in an explosion of bourbon and ice. As I turned to look for a waiter, my conscience raised a little red, "Maybe you should slow down," flag in my mind. I grabbed a random drink off a passing server's tray, told my conscience to go fuck itself, and watched as the game went on. Only Nate and Turbo remained, staring each other down like whiskey-bent outlaws in a western face-off. Turbo's card was drawn, and he grabbed it with a victorious "fuck yes!" while he held his middle finger in the unlucky loser's face. Naked Nate hung his head in defeat and footed the bill as he muttered, "Fuck it, I'll win it back at the casino." Night had fallen, and we stumbled out of the restaurant. The street was littered with extremely questionable and shady characters as per usual, and our group of well-dressed rageaholics stood out like a wealthy sore thumb, further boosting our elitist aura. Immediately, we devised a plan to send our underage dates to a bar with some of the younger guys so we could hit Harrah's Casino and focus on gambling without distractions. I gave Katie a "don't blow anyone else" reminder makeout and told her we'd meet up in an hour.
Classic.
"Don't stay too long. I'll get lonely without you," she flirted as she winked at me. "I'm going just for a little while so I can win you some spending money for shopping tomorrow. Then I'll be back," I assured her. "I promise." We rushed into the casino like a pack of fiends in need of a fix, and when the sound of shuffling chips and spinning wheels hit our ears, we all imagined the same thing, making it rain thousands in winnings. Within 15 minutes at our first craps table, I was down $500. Nate had given up another $1.5K, still fratting in the face of adversity, and Turbo was forced to leave the table after his dripping nosebleed got on the felt. That happened to me in the Atlantis casino when I was 18. Don't tell anyone. When they kindly asked him to step away, he screamed obscenities at the pit boss, citing a brain tumor as cause for his condition, threatening to sue. "This is a goddamn travesty! I'm a sick man!" A partially true statement. I considered myself up a couple grand after escaping credit card roulette, so I started tripling my bets. Strangers were retreating from the tables we had taken over as we blew money pounding scotch and cigars. 2 honeymooners from Kansas looked particularly distraught with our behavior. With a roll of the dice and 2 lungs filled with smoke, Nate addressed them. "Don't beat that up too hard tonight. She's second wife material." They eyed us in astonishment and scurried away. It was time we got the fuck out of here before we were blacklisted. Naked Nate refused to leave the table, and I knew it was likely he'd remain all night, desperately trying to recoup. The rest of us hit the restroom, keyed a couple of bumps of instant energy, and bailed back onto Bourbon. Our next stop was Love Acts. It's Love Acts, ACTS. And it's a strip club. It's a real strip club. And it's it's the most disgusting place I've ever been in my life. It's like a half of a stage built by like a blind guy with a mattress in the middle and a pole. And that's the whole joint. And it is fucked up. They barely use the pole. It's mostly the mattress. You don't want to be there. Possibly the most disgusting strip club south of the Mason-Dixon. As we made our approach, one of our younger members was getting tossed out. Apparently, he'd gotten a little handsy with a stripper and tried to slip her a rogue finger during a backroom lap dance. We posted up around the center stage, swallowing scotch like water, and a full-blown money-spending race had begun. As I rained 20s down on a stripper named Diamond Cream, my conscience returned and smacked me in the face with a momentary flash of responsibility. I couldn't help but wonder what Katie was doing. I looked over at Turbo, and he had his face sandwiched between a stripper's oversized ass cheeks. "Jesus, this is nauseating," I accidentally said aloud. "What's that, baby?" Diamond Cream inquired. Fuck. I was surprised she'd heard me. I said, "You need Jesus." I pulled Turbo's head from the jiggling ass sandwich and told him it was time we found our girls. He grabbed the other guys and we headed for the exit, much to the dismay of the pole pros working the stage. Once we were outside, I checked my iPhone and found an excessive 18 missed calls and repetitive texts from Katie filled with horrific spelling inaccuracies caused by drunken dyslexia. And I guess I'll just show you all these because I can't. I don't know how to read. How do I? Okay, there we go. These. What's up, Towns? Where are you? Ugh, whatever. 1:45 a.m. Woo! Shots. 2:18 a.m. Meet us at Pat O's. 2:26 a.m. Oh my God, I lobe this gucking bar. Come he. 2:45 a.m. Sick of old men hitting on me. I want you bad. I could barely see straight, but in deciphering her messages, I was fairly certain she wanted me to punch my ticket to Pound Town. I led the group as we plowed through the boisterous crowd toward Pat O'Brien's. Once inside, we figured it'd be pretty difficult to find the girls, but we were wrong. I immediately spotted them on stage with a band, jumping around like crazed groupies at a Beatles concert with 15 creepy old men staring up at them from below. There's never been a more accurate description of Bourbon Street. As I was making my way toward her, Katie picked me out of the crowd and immediately jumped down, screaming, "Towns! Oh my God! Where have you been? This place is so great!" Well, one of the guys got sick at the casino, so we had to make sure he was okay. I lied. "Aw, what a Debbie Downer." She kissed me and tasted like a shot of vodka. She was clearly wasted, so I was relieved when she suggested we head back to the hotel to initiate the after party. I grabbed her hand and led her back through the crowd toward our temporary home. We assembled at the hotel bar, but had no clue as to the whereabouts of Nate or his date. I ordered a couple shots, decided there was no way I was giving Katie anything else to drink, and ended up taking both of them. What a good guy. What a good guy. Look, there was one moral line in the entire book. I did it. I achieved morality. Then I tried to dance with her, which consisted of me holding her up while she swayed back and forth like a hippie who's had one too many hits of bad acid. "Let's just fucking go upstairs," she demanded with drunken feistiness. "I want to play." Jackpot. She was basically dead weight as we staggered to the hotel room. Jesus, God, there goes the morality. Good thing I found her, because she would have been an easy target for anyone eyeing her on stage. Wow. Never mind, we're back. In the elevator on the way up to our room, she hit her head on the wall, damn it, then slid to the ground like she'd been shot. The definition of class personified. I pulled her up and held her until we reached our floor, then made our way toward the room. I assure you this does not end with sex. After spending 10 minutes finding the fucking key card that was oddly hidden in my pack of cigs, I hope, I haven't read this in so many years, I swiped the thing and attempted to open our door. I'm having a lot of faith in 2013 Ross by even reading this. It was latched shut, so I kicked it in. Welcome to the danger zone. Porn was blaring on the TV, Nate's date was passed out in the shower fully clothed, and naked Nate himself was passed out on the floor in the middle of the room, completely naked with his flaccid pecker in hand. Katie face-planted onto our bed without concern for the situation. I turned off Butt Pirates of the Caribbean, which was ordered for $29.99, and tried to wake up Captain Dumbass. "Hey, wake the fuck up!" I kicked him a few times, but he didn't budge. "Dude, wake up, come on!" When I leaned over to see if he was breathing, I noticed a puddle of white, creamy liquid crusting over on his stomach. "Oh, fuck! Nate, what the shit did you do?" He responded with a deep, drawn-out groan, unable to conjure up the English language. At this point, I was furious, so I threw a towel over the disgusting bum and started hitting him with a pillow as hard as I could. He finally stirred, then rose like a zombie, took one glassy-eyed look at me, and climbed into bed next to Katie, immediately passing out. "Oh, okay. Fuck you guys. I'm out of here," I stood and said to my 3 unconscious friends. The scenario was far too depressing for me to end my night with, so I bailed. Back in the hallway, I immediately got a huge whiff of a very distinct and familiar smell. Someone was turning their room into a greenhouse. I roamed aimlessly, following the scent, and banged on the door closest to the odor. Luckily, it was one of our sophomore members, Craig. And in parentheses it says, pre-med. Why is Craig the only person in the entire book who got the distinction of a fucking degree? I guess we'll find out. Who invited me in, coughing smoke in my face and grinning like a senile mad scientist. "Towns, come on in and join the party." I entered, praying the situation wasn't similar to the room I had just exited. Apparently, Craig had made friends with a couple local performers after his show because the party was comprised of 2 aspiring rappers, 2 strippers, and there was no sign of a second roommate or anyone's dates. The sunlight had begun to peek through the blinds, and I was in the midst of an epic come-down. I definitely needed some of the medicine this unusual ensemble possessed. "Hit this shit, dude. It'll make you feel better," Craig said. "You don't have to tell me twice, doctor." That's why we went with the pre-med thing, I guess. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. It's a literary device that New York Times bestselling authors use. You don't know shit about that. Not you, Coles, the listeners. I went face deep into a gravity bong, took a hit, and the second I leaned back, I knew I was fucked. Until that moment, I had managed to successfully balance the mixture of sleep deprivation, uppers, downers, and hand grenades that had flooded my system, but my body had reached its limit. "Oh shit! White boy can't handle his weed!" yelled one of the strippers. "Dude, are you okay? Be cool." "Thanks for the advice, Craig." I was so fucking stoned I couldn't even open my mouth to speak, so I nodded like a mute kid with a learning disability. Blacking in and out, I rammed through the door into the hallway and fell over into an ice machine. I tried to stand back up but collapsed, easing my way toward my room with the wall as a crutch. I swiped my card over and over trying to get inside and realized it was the wrong fucking room. My conscience chimed back in. Who's telling who to go fuck himself now, amateur clown? I could hear my brain counting down the seconds until shutdown. 10, 9, 8, 7. Fuck, I needed to find my room. I tried the next door and it swung open. 6, 5, 4. I fell to my knees and started crawling. Then my face hit the carpet as I felt the door close on my feet. 3, 2, 1. Shutdown. I woke up to the sound of Katie's voice. Towns? Her foot nudged me in the ribs. Towns! I'm up! I'm up! I peeled my head off the carpet and pulled my feet in through the door, letting it close behind me. What the hell happened last night? She whispered with a concerned sternness. And why are you sleeping in the doorway? I was with Craig and some... Never mind. What time is it? 9:30 in the morning. I woke up next to Nate, and he was... Naked? I asked, smirking. Yeah, I saw that. I got to my feet and saw that naked Nate was still out cold in my bed. His date had found her way to what was supposed to be their bed, and Katie was already dressed and ready for the day. You want to get breakfast? She asked. You look like you need it. Thank you, and yes, I do. Let me change and we'll get out of here. At the hotel's complimentary breakfast, we ate with a bunch of the younger guys and their dates, and I was updated on the rest of the events from the previous evening. These were the stats. 3 groups were evicted from their rooms for receiving multiple noise complaints. They moved to the Holiday Inn 2 blocks away. 5 guys got into a fight outside Razoo's bar at 4:30 in the morning with some deltas from Oregon after an argument about football. One of our freshmen, James Perry, spent $3,600 in the Penthouse Club VIP room after he caught his date making out with a random guy. A sophomore nicknamed Bull broke his arm falling down the stairs of the hotel. Apparently security had found him standing with his eyes closed in the elevator on the 5th floor, not pressing any buttons, and asked him what floor he was trying to reach. He opened his eyes, panicked, ran out of the elevator, pushed open the door to the staircase, and fell down the stairs. People are stupid. He spent all night in the ER. In the end, it was a historically successful trip. How? By what standards? By what standards? I'm just kidding, by college standards. New Orleans was a city built for frat moves, and we kept the tradition alive and well to the best of our abilities. We gave it our all, left it all on the playing field, and went home without any regrets. Stories from our trip would be told to rushies for years to come, and pictures would circulate through Facebook and Twitter, threatening to end political careers for some guys before they'd even begun. It was an incomparable final formal to cap off my active membership as an alpha, and the exclamation point at the end of the best years of my life. Fraternity formals are one of the great oxymorons of society. Hundreds of guys and girls dress in their finest suits and dresses and then get completely obliterated, gradually deformalizing their outfits by the night's end. But they look damn good doing it. Was this not even the fucking last chapter? Am I a liar? No, there's an epilogue. All right, so here's the TFMs, and then we'll read the epilogue. And then I'm going to set this book on fire in my backyard. It says, on fashion and formals. The better you dress, the worse you can behave. TFM. This blazer gives me confidence I don't even need. TFM. The grin you get when your professor asks, so did anyone do anything fun this weekend? TFM. Sneaking drugs past cops by hiding them in my bloodstream. TFM. That's a good one. The Blazer chest pocket beer. TFM. Landing a haymaker at the bar in a sports coat. TFM. Smoking weed in a bow tie. TFM. Any occasion worth wearing a blazer is worth bringing a flask. TFM. Carrying uppers in the coin pocket of your khakis. TFM. Went to a pajama party in khakis and a button-down because that's usually what I pass out in. TFM. Here's one of the photos. Riding the ice sculpture at formal. A little bit softer now, TFM. Formal shotguns, TFM. Sorry for all of you who are experiencing PTSD as a result of this. Getting weird at formal gatherings, TFM. Not giving a single fuck at formal, TFM. Why do these all look like the same guy? It's like, I guess that's the irony in it. Light bulb. And then the morning after, TFM, which I could have sworn was a photo used in another chapter. Which would just be like one hell of a miss by me and my dog Ben Greenberg, who edited this book, by the way. The GOAT. I believe he's now at Penguin Publishing, if I'm not mistaken. But Ben Greenberg is the dude who helped me write this fucking thing. and understand what I was doing. Also, Bird Level, who was my literary agent at the time, was very helpful at the beginning. Here's your epilogue. The very next week after our formal in New Orleans, I became an official alumnus of Alpha. I had paid my dues in full and been an active member of the fraternity for the maximum of 4 years, so that was it. It was all over. I even spent another year on campus, but I was more focused on graduation than blacking out and slaying randoms. The good times had come to an end, and the real world was calling. It was incredibly depressing because I knew the truth. I knew I'd graduate, get a great job, marry a total smoke show, have athletic kids, and build a life for myself that 99% of the world would envy, but things would never be the same. When my firstborn enters this world, I'm sure I'll say it's the happiest day of my life, but will I really be happier than I was being showered with beer in the middle of a party with 300 people screaming at the top of their lungs around me while I've got 2 hands full of tits? Probably not. The real world comes with real responsibilities, taxes, career choices, and mature women who know better. When I'm an old man, retired and knocking over picture frames with my medicated boner, I'll still think back to those nights I had with Monty, Turbo, Nate, and all my other friends, and smile when I think about how good we had it. No matter how much time passes or how things change, nobody can take those years away from us. Nationals might crack down on hazing, universities might ban alcohol on campuses, schools might do away with fraternities altogether. Wow, that was a lot of foreshadowing. Fuck. A lot of that happened in the 5 years after I wrote this thing. Whoops. I'm not sorry. But they can never take away what we had. Did we act irresponsibly? Sure. Did we piss some people off along the way? Definitely. Did most of us almost die? Yes. Would I go back and do it all over again? In a fucking heartbeat. And then there's, that's it. That's the end of the book. But then there's some TFMs and some more photos. So what the fuck? Sunday night. You don't have shit else to do, and neither do I. We'll play some Warzone after this. But first, my birth certificate says I'm 19 years old. My ID says I'm 25 years old. My wardrobe says I'm 43 years old. TFM. Being the peer who pressures. TFM. Ordering food delivery, then passing out before it arrives. TFM. Giving condescending nicknames to people you barely know. TFM. How old are you really means, I want to fuck you, but I don't want to go to jail. TFM. I think that's just like a general rule of society. I don't really know what the fuck that has to do with fraternities. Chris D'Elia could have learned that one. People call me by my first and last name with fucking in the middle. TFM. Overdressed and under the influence. TFM. Studying is for people who don't trust their instincts. TFM. 2-hour parking sign over my bed so there no... Oh, come on, man. 2-hour parking sign over my bed so they know they're not welcome to stay the night. TFM. Told the GDI in front of me, hey, do you want to split the work? I'll do 1 through 5 and you do 6 through 10. Told the GDI behind me, hey, do you want to split the work? I'll do 6 through 10 and you do 1 through 5. TFM. Here, put your number in. I don't know how to spell your name. TFM. We gave up on coming up with a witty name for the party, so the theme was ex-athletes and sluts. TFM. Dear Lord. The band from last year refused to return because of my behavior towards them. If they had played Freebird, there wouldn't have been a problem. TFM. I like my women like my whiskey. 18 years old and mixed up with Coke. Just kidding. I would never do that to the whiskey. TFM. I'll quit after college. TFM. I don't pay for my friends. I pay for a mansion where we throw parties that you're not invited to. TFM. Never helping with group projects, but always being the one who presents them. I'm just going to stop saying the fucking thing after the end. Y'all know the 3 letters. Public display of erection. Better late than sober. It's like Proverbs gone horribly wrong. That's what this brand was. Proverbs gone horribly, horribly wrong. Awoke this morning with my slam piece in one arm and a half-empty bottle of Maker's Mark in the other. Guess which one joined me for breakfast? TFM. I have to say 'em. Waited for Rush to be over so I can take a 4-month break from having to bend over and tie my own shoes. TFM. The perfect blend of complete gentleman and total asshole. TFM. Slamming like it's the 60s, getting high like it's the 70s, dressing like the 80s, making money like the 90s, and drinking like it's the end of the world. TFM. I really shouldn't do this. Spoiler alert, she does it. TFM. Telling the rushie with pierced ears that the house is closed when there is obviously a full-blown rager going on. TFM. My relationships are like trick candles. She can blow me all she wants, but will never go out. TFM. What the fuck? Telling GDIs to come back when we have an open party. We never have an open party. TFM. Sorostitutes aren't allowed over during sorority silence. Luckily, strippers are always welcome. TFM. If I wanted to be your friend, I would have given you a bid. TFM. Using your phone call to order pizza for everyone in the drunk tank. TFM. Impressing the mother on the dance floor and then impressing the daughter in the bedroom. TFM. Waking up from a blackout with a ruler duct taped to what feels like a broken ankle. TFM. I trust my pledge brothers with my life, but I keep a padlock on my liquor cabinet. TFM. Diagnosing every injury sustained by a brother as, quote, a broken vagina. TFM. Telling someone, I'll see what I can do, when the situation is clearly out of control. TFM. It was like that when we got here. TFM. Goths call us conformists, hipsters call us mainstream, PETA calls us cruel, environmentalists call us closed-minded, feminists call us womanizers, socialists call us greedy, liberals call us ignorant, but despite all this, society calls us successful. TFM. Oh, that couldn't have ended it on a worse one that couldn't have aged more poorly. But that's literally the last one in the book. It's almost poetic. Sweet mother of Jesus.
You can just say you were super meta when you wrote it.
I mean, it is truly wild how much has changed in just 7 years. There's like 40 lines from this book that there's no way would get published today. Like, absolutely no shot. And what's funny is I remember at points when we were writing it, like, we removed shit that we thought was offensive. And there's more offensive shit now. I mean, it's the stuff that wasn't offensive has become offensive. The whole thing is just offensive. Some more pictures. Suits and Boots, TFM. That's actually on the Texas State campus. That's the old library there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Swinging for the Fences, TFM. That is a man fake paddling a chick while two other chicks smile for the photo. The One-Handed Keg Stand, TFM. Classic. Alumni Relations. It's like a 90-year-old man chugging out of a fucking trophy of some kind while a bunch of shirtless dudes root him on. Totally normal. Totally fucking normal. Oh my God. The Frat Pile, TFM. That's two people making out on top of two people making out on top of two people making out. Why? That's how COVID started. It wasn't China. It was a frat pile. Using cargo shorts to light your cigarette. TFM. There's like a very aggressive anti-cargo shorts movement there for several years. I mean, just very aggressive. Beer bonging at sunrise, TFM. And then, I fucking love this one. Fighter pilot beer bongs. All these dudes have fighter pilot helmets that they've turned into beer bongs. Coles, you need to get one of these for the lake.
Oh my God. I don't think I need to be that aggressive. And that seems like...
It is aggressive. Frat boarding, TFM. Having the captain stow a keg. TFM. Studying abroad. Being that guy.
Oh, yeah.
That just looks lonely. And that's it. That's the book. That's the entire thing. We did it. We got through it. Thank you to everyone who tuned in for the final reading of the TFM book, the 2013 best-selling novel that is now filled with horribly aged, inappropriate, sexist, and disturbing jokes. If you were offended at any point, that's definitely not on me. And I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope you at least got some laughs out of it. This last several Sundays have been hilarious. I had not read this book in like 8 or 9 years, maybe longer, because I had to read it over and over and over and over and over when I was writing it, and it's obviously fucked up. So, yeah, I pretty much had my fill of it at that point, and I never went back. And then I decided it was probably a good idea to revisit on the stream. You know, I thought it would probably bring some positive energy to 2020 that was needed, and it turns out it didn't. It didn't do that at all. But I hope y'all had fun. Black Box, what we do now is we play Warzone. That's what we do now, man. We play Warzone. That's what's next. And then we'll figure out some other cool shit. Chris Coulson, for those of you who don't know, if you're new here, Chris Coulson is my employee number 2 at Bolen Media. He started last week. Monday was his first day. He did his first 2 episodes of any podcast ever, like he'd never recorded anything in his entire life, on Monday and Wednesday, and he crushed both of them. It was incredibly impressive. Go listen to episode 312 and 313 of the Ross Bolen podcast to hear his first 2 ever shows. We had a lot of fun, and then we did a Patreon episode on Friday that was absolutely disgusting. It was mostly about fast food, and it was really, truly disturbing. We both had he had Pete Terry's tonight, Austin people, for dinner. Cole's 1 through 10 Pete Terry's ranking.
Well, like, taking in consideration it's fast food, like 8.
8. He gives it an 8.
Can you add bacon?
Now he's asking if he can add bacon. Fucking stoner. I believe you can, Coles. You can add bacon. You can add bacon. You can add onions. You can add jalapenos.
Ooh. I'm getting...
Next time.
Nah, maybe 10. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, if you just tuned in and you missed chapter 12, it'll be on youtube.com/Bolen Media tomorrow. I also want to give a special thank you to Alerted Payload, our mod here on Twitch, who has been who helped me build this stream over the course of this past year and has been taking care of highlighting the chapters as we read them so that they're not stuck in the middle of a whole big thing. Anyway, the point being, so he helps me get them on YouTube. And that's that. If you're not subscribed to the Ross Bolen podcast, please do so. If you're not subscribed to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, our television and film podcast, we closed out coverage of Dark last week. Mr. Barrett Dudley and I do that show together. One of my best friends for 17 years now. And then Perry Mason is the other show we're watching, which I'll be hitting episode 5 of on HBO later before I go to sleep, and then we'll be covering that this week on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. And now I'm going to switch this hoe back up to the old Warzone-y, but I'm staying here. I don't have to go anywhere anymore because I've learned how to do things and stuff without fucking shutting off the stream and restarting. How are y'all? How is everybody? How was your weekend as a whole? My tea break finally ended today. I smoked a little Bolski. Actually, I could only get 2 hits in me before I was like, because my tolerance is reset, and it hadn't been reset in a really long time. Alerted, I was saying. You weren't even here? Did you really go piss when I was thanking you, dude? Just rewind. What's up, B-Hog? What was I saying? Oh, my tolerance reset, and that was the goal. Also, the goal was to get away from having to be so dependent on weed for my day-to-day mental health-wise and get back to a place where I could use it as both a tool and obviously to, like, you know, relax and take the edge off on the weekend or whatever and not have it be such a crutch. To get back to a healthy place with Mary Jane instead of a dependent, what is it, codependent? What's the unhealthy one that you want to avoid? Codependent relationship. I believe that's correct. I'm not exactly a fucking psychologist, but anyway, that was the point of the tea break. I made it the full 2 weeks, and honestly, it was. I talk about this at the end of the latest episode of RBP, but I needed it, and it was something that gave me a much clearer head, and I feel a hell of a lot better now than I did before. Also on account of the fact that Coles and I have been pumping fucking iron. Rossfit is back. It's my right. I can't really.